Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to dive into the two forces that pretty much dictate everything you do: motivation and emotion. Think of it like this: one's the engine that drives you, and the other? That's the fuel powering the whole journey. So let's get right into it.
So let's start with a really big question, a pretty fundamental one, actually. Why do you do what you do? I mean, seriously, why'd you get out of bed this morning? Why'd you pick the job you have? Why are you even here right now? The answers? Well, they're all tangled up in this really intricate dance between what drives you and how you feel.
And that brings us to the core idea we're going to be playing with today: motivation. That's your engine. It's that internal hum that gets you moving, pushing you toward a goal. But the emotion? Oh, that's the fuel. It's the high octane stuff that gives the whole trip its power, its direction, its feel.
All right, so let's pop the hood, shall we? Let's take a look at that engine first. Let's talk about motivation. What is it that actually gets us to, well, do anything?
Yeah, this first part is all about decoding that inner drive. What gets you started and maybe even more importantly, what keeps you going. It's that push from the inside or maybe a pull from the outside that directs what we do and gives it a purpose.
Okay, and here's a really important distinction. Motivation isn't just, wanting something. It's an internal state of striving. It's the whole process, the whole journey from point A to point B. It takes you from a state of lacking something, whether that's something as basic as a glass of water or as big as a sense of purpose, all the way to fulfilling that need. And you know what? This process, it's not just some random spark of inspiration. Nope. It actually follows a pretty clear, repeatable pattern. We call it the motivation cycle. Think of it as the loop that keeps our engine running, taking us from one goal to the very next one. So let's break this cycle down. It all kicks off with a need. You're lacking something, let's say you're thirsty. That creates a drive, right? An internal tension that really energizes you to go find some water. The water bottle on your desk, that's the incentive, the thing you're aiming for. And then finally, you take a drink. That's the goal of the reward. It satisfies the need, the drive goes down, at least until you get thirsty again. And the whole thing starts over. Now, where does that drive actually come from? Well, it can come from two totally different places. On one hand, you've got intrinsic motivation. That's when you do something just because you love it, for the sheer joy of it, like playing guitar for hours. Then there's extrinsic motivation. That's when you're doing something to get something else, like a reward or to avoid a punishment. Think studying hard just to get a good grade. Both are super powerful motivators, but man, they feel completely different. Okay, so we've got a handle on the engine. Now let's talk about the fuel, the stuff that really makes it roar. Let's talk about our emotions. And as you're about to see, they are way, way more than just simple moods. Right, so an emotion isn't just a feeling. It's like a full body experience. It's this whole coordinated event that changes your behavior, how you feel inside, and even your physical body. Your heart starts racing, your breathing changes. And here's a key difference from just being in a mood. An emotion is usually pretty quick and it's aimed at something. You're not just vaguely annoyed, you're angry at the person who cut you off. You're not just feeling good, you're excited about the weekend. This brings up a classic chicken or the egg debate in psychology. What comes first? Do you feel afraid and then your heart starts pounding, or does your heart start pounding and that's what makes you feel afraid? The James Lange theory said the bodily reaction comes first. I'm trembling, so I must be afraid. But then the Cannon-Bard theory came along and said, no, it all happens at the exact same time. You tremble and you feel afraid simultaneously. So this back and forth eventually gave us what's called the Schachter-Singer two-factor theory. And it's a game changer. It basically says it's a two-step process. Step 1, your body has a physical reaction. Your heart is pounding. Step 2, your brain immediately scans the environment to figure out why. It puts a label on that feeling. Is your heart pounding because there's a bear in front of you? That's fear. Is it pounding because you're on a first date that's going really well? That's excitement. And this really gets to the heart of how we think about it today. It's not the event itself that dictates the emotion. It's your interpretation of that event. That's the key. Think about it, a roller coaster. For one person, it's the thrill of a lifetime, pure joy. For the person next to them, it's sheer terror. Same event, totally different emotions, all because of how their brains decide to label that experience. Okay, so here's where it all comes together. The engine, our motivation, and the fuel, our emotions. They aren't separate things working in isolation. Not at all. They are completely intertwined in this powerful, dynamic loop. Emotions are literally motivational states. They're not just things that happen to us. They are active. They're designed to make us do something. Think about it. Fear gives you that massive burst of energy to run away. Happiness makes you want to stick around and get more of whatever is causing it. Emotions are the raw energy and the focus that our motivational engine absolutely needs to get going.
And really, it all boils down to this fundamental principle called affect optimization. It sounds fancy, but the idea is super simple. We are wired to act in ways that make us feel good and avoid acting in ways that make us feel bad. That's it. In this system, our emotions are basically the compass, telling us which way good is, and our motivation is the act of actually moving in that direction.
So the big question is, can we take all of this, all these complex drives, all these feelings, and put them into one single, understandable framework? Well, it turns out we can. Psychologists have come up with a kind of unified map of human motivation, and it is a really fascinating way to see how all these pieces fit together.
Okay, I know this looks like a lot, but let's walk through it. This is the unified pyramid of human motivation. It's a way of organizing all of our drives into 4 main areas of life. Down at the bottom, you have our material needs, survival, safety, the basics. Then, moving around, you have our social needs, that desire to belong, to have relationships. Then you get to our self needs, the need to feel competent and in control of our own lives. And at the very top, our spiritual needs, the search for meaning and purpose. It's a framework for basically everything that pushes us.
Now, here's a really cool layer to add on top of this. Every single one of those motivations has 2 sides to it, like 2 sides of the same coin. There's what we call a promotion focus, which is all about moving towards something good, like trying to achieve success. And then there's the prevention focus, which is about moving away from something bad, like trying to avoid failure. One is about chasing gains, the other is about preventing losses.
And that right there, that is the constant balancing act of being human, isn't it? Every single day, every decision is this little negotiation between our hopes and our fears. It's that drive for growth versus that need for safety. And it's this fundamental push and pull that really, at the end of the day, defines the path we take in life. So when you start to understand your own unique engine, what truly motivates you, and you get a feel for the emotions that act as your fuel, you basically have a map to your own inner world. It's incredibly powerful, so the only question we'll leave you with is a personal one. Now that you know a little more about your engine and your fuel, where are you going to drive next?